Exclusivity is for things that are only available on those maps. Since the map doesn't share or have anything specifically unique to it like weapons or perks or anything like that, I don't think it is worth including in the review. It just wouldn't be fair. Co-op uses the same camping methods that was already mentioned to get higher rounds in casual public match gameplay. The main issue with Verrucht is that even with multiple people on the map, it is just as hard. Getting an okay round can be extremely difficult when players start going down. The record on Black Ops 3 Verrucht is round 80 2-player with classic gobbleguns by Joker Zomber and Pimp Juice 95. It is also round 122 with Mega Gobblegums on Black Ops 3. Overall, I give co-op a 2.5 out of 5. Solo can be fun depending on the playstyles already mentioned. The map being old and not having much to offer can get very boring over time, however, and since the map is so difficult, it can be very frustrating and probably piss you off a lot like it did to me when getting gameplay for this video. Overall, I would say Solo.
Yeah. Yeah. Bitches and hoes. I got bitches, I got hoes, I got new designer clothes. What can I listen to in the background that will not get me demonetized or copyright striked? Definitely other people's content, huh? Definitely no music, though. Listen to some wisecrack. Philosophy videos.
Eyes Wide Shut. You know, the movie where then-married Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman endure on-screen marital problems while hiding their off-screen marital problems. Hollywood, am I right? While the film was billed as an erotic thriller starring the two hottest and, yes, married actors of the time, critics were pretty scathing. They expected hot sex scenes. Instead, they got one measly masked orgy and Tom Cruise taking a lot of brisk walks. Like a lot. While the world initially balked at Kubrick's final film, critical opinion has turned in recent years. What was initially dismissed as a failed piece of erotica has proven upon further inspection to be something way deeper, an exploration of sociology, dreams, desire, and yes, sex through the lens of New York City's elite. At its deeply cynical core, the film asks the question, are we all somebody's whore? Welcome to this Wisecrack edition on Eyes Wide Shut. Spoilers ahead, but no Illuminati we promise. But real quick, want to let you guys know about the inspiration for this video. Our movie podcast, Show Me the Meaning. Every week I'm breaking down movies with the awesome writers and researchers who work really hard on these videos. We cover huge blockbusters like Avengers Endgame, Venom, and The Dark Knight, to film nerd favorites like Walkabout, They Live, and of course, Eyes Wide Shut. Recently, we've even started covering documentaries on subjects like Firefest, Theranos, and Flat Earth. You could see me doing the podcast live over at our Wisecast channel, or you can catch it on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or Google Play. We all love doing it, so hope to see y'all there. And now, back to the show. But first, a recap. In this Christmas film that perversely debuted in the summer of 1999, we follow wealthy couple Dr. Bill and Alice Harford as they navigate the elite world of New York City's Upper West Side. When Alice gets stoned and details an old sexual fantasy she had about somebody else, Bill loses his shit and roams around the city on the hunt for sex and extravagance. That hunt takes him to a literal masked orgy where this lady makes a number of melodramatic warnings before saving Bill's butt when he gets caught infiltrating the members-only sexathon. Later, he plays amateur detective and sneaks into a morgue where he finds a woman. The same woman, now dead. Then his wealthy patient tells him to stop pissing off rich dudes who throw masked orgies, and he's like, yeah, good point, man. So he drops the whole thing and takes his family Christmas shopping, joy to the world. Part 1. Dreams and Desire. Eyes Wide Shut is an adaptation of Arthur Schnitzler's Traumnovelle, German for dream novella, about a doctor who freaks out after finding out his wife had a sex dream about not him. Fittingly, Eyes Wide Shut is constructed like a dream film, in service of one of the movie's central themes, desire. What are dreams if not fulfilling our secret desires to fly, or ace our 9th grade algebra test, or, let's be real, there's some sort of ambient undertone or sometimes overtone of sexual desire buzzing throughout the entire film. Like most people in 1999, every character in the film wants to f*** Tom Cruise, from Mrs. Nathanson to Alan Cumming to the fiscally motivated Domino. The Hungarian propositions Alice in the middle of a crowded Christmas party. It's even heavily implied that this random barista had a fling with Nick Nightingale. How else is she able to point Bill to the exact hotel where he's staying? You get the sense that even outside of any orgy parties, New York is kind of like one great big orgy. Weird sexual tensions permeate the air from these bizarre and homophobic teens
Hey, what team's this switch hitter playing for?
Looks like the pink team.
to these models. The film stays pretty squarely in the realm of hazy non-awakeness. In his book, Stanley Kubrick, A Narrative and Stylistic Analysis, author Mario Falsetto claims that we never know what to believe. Truth and fiction, objectivity and subjectivity, and the public and private are intermingled to such a degree that the viewer remains in a state of constant uncertainty. Falsetto adds that nothing in this film can be taken at face value.
It's so unreal.
Indeed, Kubrick employs certain cinematic techniques to imbue the film with a dreamlike quality. Certain fantastical scenes are marked with ambiguity through an ever-lurking Steadicam. By contrast, scenes more grounded in reality remain static. The editing also contributes to the dreaminess with dissolve transitions like this. Additionally, there are a great deal of characters dissolving into one another, like in a dream where your friend Joe suddenly turns into a chill lizard person with wings, and it makes sense. Each new woman Bill meets, from Mandy to Domino to Sally, is a redhead for one. That's a statistical improbability and a meaningful choice, which led film critic Lee Siegel to suggest that each of these women represent Alice, the woman Bill is subconsciously seeking. There's also a lot of straight-up doubling. Bill meets 2 flirty young models, and the costume store guy's daughter has 2 men over. Bill encounters Miss Nathanson's boyfriend who looks just like him. There are 2 Eastern Europeans, Sandor Savast, the Hungarian, and Milic, the costume store owner. 2 imposing men stand outside the gates of the orgy palace. There's also Milic's mischievous daughter, contrasted with Bill's naive, sheltered Helena. It all calls to mind Kubrick's best use of doubling.
Come and play with us, Daddy.
It may not be as spooky this time, but it's certainly not incidental. It all gives the film an uncanny quality, a sense of dreamlike reality. Similarly, there's a lot of repetition. Bill tells us that he's a doctor a ton of times, almost always when he's trying to get away with something.
I'm Mr. Grenning's doctor. Just to let you know that I really am Dr. Harford.
It's okay, I'm a doctor. I'm Dr. Harford.
Other lucid dreaming style repetitions occur. These 2 models tell Bill that they're going where the rainbow ends, and a short time later, Bill ends up at Rainbow Fashions. This newspaper also, oddly, literally repeats text. Basically, everything that happens in this movie feels like it exists in that weird gulf when you first wake up from an impromptu nap and can't quite remember where the dream world and life world separate. In embodying the aesthetic of dreams, the film suggests that dreams have the power to reveal desires and unearth deeper truths about us as people. Most directly, Alice literally recounts, which brings us to Part 2. Are we all whores?